how I really, really, really learned how to love myself with plants. This is the thing about plants, like, you gotta be, like, aware, or they die.
Yeah.
Oh wow. We're not taking any phone calls on this Sunday. Devin! Adulting like fuck, thought I had everything together. Nah, motherfucking phone ring. The fuck? Anyway, well, let's get into this. So, how I really learned how to care for myself was plants, and one of the first real plants I got when I was in an apartment, Colin gave me. He gave me 2. And I named the plant Pete. Pete, and then I had another plant, and his name was Tom. But me and Pete went from my ex house to my mama house to another apartment to this apartment, and the winter that just passed, Pete died. Right. But what I realized when all my plants died in the winter was that they were integral in like me surviving. And I think a lot of people don't realize like life actually happens and involves like plants. So the reason that you're here is so we can talk about what like self-love looks like for Black queer people.
Yeah.
And yeah, the conversation of that, we're gonna plant some plants at the same time. So this vlog, you guys will hear us moving and planting plants. And this will probably be the longest podcast I've ever had.
Let's get into it. I just want to say, like, I do think it's important to have another life force around you. Mm-hmm. Plants are living things.
Right.
You know, so.
Yeah.
And the upkeep is important, like you mentioned, you know, if you don't take special care, they will die.
Yeah. Like, so when I was gonna get these plants, right, they told me about rocks. So sometimes when you are growing a plant and the pot doesn't have aeration, you put rocks at the bottom so the roots have room to grow and soil.
Never knew that.
Yeah, so you won't get root rot.
I thought it was all soil. I never knew that.
This is the trick that you can actually do. So it's just like, damn. So I'm sitting there like, damn. What if somebody actually told us how to had a fucking playbook or something that told us really the beginning of your foundation? You need some air. You need some air for your roots so they can grow, so they can flourish.
So when you mentioned that planting and having plants taught you how to love yourself, mm-hmm. I think I have an idea of what you mean. Because like we literally just talked about 2 minutes ago, you gotta take special care of these things if they die. You gotta take special care of yourself or you'll die. Maybe not physically, but internally. If you don't treat yourself with special care, you wither away.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm a testament to that. I don't know if you remember a few years back, I was having the seizures and passing out because I wasn't taking care of myself. So, your body will tell you. Mm-hmm. Or maybe too late when you realize it.
So is that a part of what you mean when you say that? Plants taught you how to love yourself?
Yeah, a lot. Just simply, a perfect example. Both those plants. You see how they're standing up like this?
Yep.
Colin, or Potted in the City, taught me that when you poke those plants droop, they need water. So on numerous occasions, I have come in and out of my house, running around, doing all kinds of shit, and 2 weeks go by, and I realized my fucking plant is dead. And I ain't washed my clothes, I ain't cleaned my bathroom, I ain't cooked my meal prep in 2 weeks, I've been eating out. So the plants like reminded me, because I can't speak for everybody else, me to center myself, to slow down. Like there's some days when I'm running around grabbing sneakers or whatever I'm doing and I don't even have to take a shower.
Yeah. These are things that I'm coming to grasp with now at the age of 35. So much later in my life than I would have liked it to happen, but it happened when it happened.
But even that, like, who taught our parents? They was having us at 18, 19, so.
They didn't have great examples.
Not even that. Nobody around us really had gotten to our age and actually lived good for us to have an example or someone to tell us, hey, do it this way.
Yeah. You're absolutely right about that.
But one of the main reasons that, yeah, go ahead. I already separated the rocks. One of the main reasons I called you here and I want to talk to you is because you are probably the only friend that I know at an early age that said, I don't give a fuck, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
You've been out of Rochester for how long?
15 years.
And you was the first one to leave. I believe out of all my friends.
And never came back.
Right.
But, I did that because, okay, let me explain to you what was happening right before that decision. I don't know if we had this conversation before.
No, we've never, you know what, we never talked about why you left.
I'll make a long stack short. We can get into details.
You can do whatever you want. This podcast is for us, baby.
So, I've always been a well-mannered person. I was a model citizen in Sunday school and in the church. My grades were excellent and everything like that. When I finally graduated high school, I had options. But the choice was taken away from me because of, you know, parentals wanting to live vicariously through you and live out their dead dreams through you and make
so let's say this
for
now.
you know.
Say this now. Let's zoom in on this. Let's say this now. Because we got hot takes on this podcast. Hot take. Your children are not your property.
Can you say it one more time, please?
Your children are not your property. They are autonomous human beings that you are supposed to foster and do things that they want to do, not what you want them to do and how you want them to do it. If they like the same things as you, it's a blessing. If not, you still should be supporting them. But your children are not property. Your children have feelings. And at 2 or 3 years old, kids is telling you what they don't like. It's because they know.
My personal belief is that, you know, it's not your job as a parent to tell your child how to live their life. It's your job to notice the things that make them who they are and help them hone those things, you know?
Yeah.
That's my belief. But saying all that to say, and again, let me preface this with this. You know, me and my mom have had this conversation. Mm-hmm. We've already made amends. That's why I can talk about it freely. You know? That's
another thing. That was the last podcast that was my hot take on the last episode, that you can't have a successful relationship until you heal your childhood traumas and confront them.
And that is what I have spent the last 15 years of my life doing, really. Because it's a lot. You know about a lot of the things that I've gone through in my life, and because we've been friends since childhood, you know. But
like 6.
So back to the subject at hand. When it came time to go to college, I could have gone anywhere. I could have gotten a full ride at Morehouse. Like, Mom was like, no, you're going to RIT. I didn't want to go to RIT. Now, also, I'm smart. So I could have done that whole thing, got my degree. I studied electrical engineering.
Mm-hmm. Wow, for real?
Yeah.
Wow. All these years I know you, and I did not know that.
Yeah. But I knew that I wasn't going to be happy doing that. I had to question myself because when you're in college, you're building up to, you know, the rest of your life. And I'm like, do I want to spend the next 40, 50, 60 years of my life doing this?
Hell no.
No. I don't.
No. Hell no.
So, unbeknownst to most, I was depressed. I was having a great time, meeting wonderful people, smiling, performing, singing, but I was depressed because my natural being just knew that this was not for me. Mm-hmm. So, I think that's where I started my journey of self-love, because I had to make a decision in a lot of instances where this is what these people are saying is best for you, but you're the only one who knows what's best for you.
Absolutely.
So you see the bigger picture where others may not, and you know there's going to be some struggle to get there. You know?
Yeah. Y'all can't see me over here in the corner, but I just poured soy all in my socks. And just for auditories, a lot of people.
Which one is this going in? Here?
Bigger one.
Bigger, okay.
Yeah, finish talking though. And this has helped me too. I talk to myself like a lot while I'm planning my plans and shit.
I think it's healthy to have conversations with yourself. You gotta sort shit out, you know? Like
For sure. For sure. It's like nobody has the desire. Like, yeah. Sorting shit out is important.
Very important.
So yeah, just if you can stick your hands all the way under, like cup it. No, like cup the entire plant.
Okay.
Like gentle, like yep. And now stick your hand under in like right, yep, in there and like scoop under and gently pull up.
Okay.
Like your whole hand. No, you got big hands, so like this. Let me see.
Because I'm not trying to ruin the plant.
No, you're not. So this is, and that's another thing too. You gotta learn like. They're just like humans, lumps and bumps, but things are regenerate, things will be fine. The shock of taking it out right now is gonna shock it, but once we water it, we're fine.
Because I've never done planting. I've always had an interest in it.
Yeah, so when you repot a plant, you try to keep them as like dry as possible and dry as possible. If you have pots that do not have like the aeration, you put the rocks in so the roots will grow around the rocks, and if there's water, you won't get root rot. And your plant won't die. So the first aloe that I had, it died because it was root rot, and I watered it too much. Aloe don't really need any water, where other ones do. So you take your hand here and just down.
Oh.
Yeah. So now. Like break
so
it
do
up.
we break this up? Okay.
Yeah, break it up a little bit. No, lift it up a little bit, turn it up so you can see it, and break like some of that stuff off. No, not like you about to rip the roots out like some edges. No, like
I'm learning. Be patient with
no,
me.
patience is a virtue. But look, and that's why I want you to go home so you can grab them. So, just
you got to get in there.
Yeah, loosen it up a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. And then what we're gonna do is take the pot mix, right? Mm-hmm. Move
Sprinkle that all the way around here?
No, you're gonna sprinkle it around and then press it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Because this, it'll actually grow up and out. So like, and like that.
This actually feels really good.
Yeah. Right. And that's the thing. Like, so yeah, you just, and yep, like around the perimeter. And yep, just pack it down.
Pack it in.
Yep, pack it in, pack it down. That's why I said break this
pack
up.
It up, pack it in. Let me begin.
Yeah, so, and because once you actually, if you break it down, it'll be a little flatter. And keep calling you Lord of mercy. So
I'm actually gonna turn my phone off now.
don't do that. You can just establish your boundary and say you was taking some quality time. So yeah, and then what we're gonna do is push it down like so. Start putting all this in there, and it'll spread out more. And then, pack it down. And then we got extra dirt here from a dead plant. And we can.
Oh, so what's the difference between the two?
It's the same. This the same type of soil. It's just that the tree that I had, I didn't take. Like I said, I didn't take that good care of. Mm-hmm. So you just pack it down, and then once it's packed down, it'll grow out. Once it actually physically grows out and gets too big for this, then I'll transport it again.
So are there like nutrients in this from the dead plant?
Yes, there's nutrients in like the soil. Like they have these little like the little white beads and stuff in them. So then you're good to go. So this one, yep. So finish telling your story because you're getting deterred.
So yeah, I got depressed. My grades slipped. I always felt like the third wheel. Like I had great friends that I'm still friends with to this day. Actually, one of those people is who I had brunch with before I came here to do your podcast with you. And I just always felt like a third wheel. I felt misunderstood. I also hated the fact that I knew that I couldn't communicate how I was feeling because no one would understand. So I just had to eat it. Grade slipped. I got suspended from college, and my family basically gave me the cold shoulder. Why? Because I was able to actually have these honest conversations with them a couple years ago, and I got to understand what they were feeling about the fact that this smart boy just dropped out of college. I didn't drop out of college. I got suspended. I was depressed.
Yeah.
But with all of their expectations, none of y'all ever been to university.
Yeah.
I am here now.
Yeah.
And you had all these expectations, but not one person ever asked me what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
It was about what they wanted for me. So to revisit that statement that we just said a little while ago, your child's life belongs to them and not you. Mm-hmm. So I very much made a decision. I was like, listen, I'm not going to prove myself. I'm not going to have conversations about this. I'm not going to go back and forth with anybody. I'm going to just show you. And I feel like that's what I did. So.
Yeah. Yeah, because after that, you moved to New York City and you never came back. And I'm like, what the hell? Then I started pulling up to the city and I'm like, yo, what it do, baby boo?
What is given today?
What is given? Hello. Yeah.
But like, yeah, I'm open and candid about these conversations. I'm not worried about who feels offended by it because like this happened to me, you know. Yeah. This is my story, and these are the parts you played in that story.
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna change that just to make you look good. This happened.
It's my truth.
This is my truth.
Yes.
This is my truth. So.
For sure. So there we go. Your baby is set.
Love it.
What we naming this one? You get to name this one.
Whew. Let's think about it. I want it to feel right.
Yeah. You know. As you should. Right. It should feel as good as if you possibly could get it to be.
But yeah, fast forward to where I am today. I have my family's love. I have my family's respect. You know, we've been able to talk through these things, and I think that is one of the most defining things about the word love.
Right. I think people don't realize that love is not control. It's like allowing people to really be who they are. Look, you want some aloe for your hair? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say because I just broke this one.
I'm going to put that in there right now.
Go ahead.
Well, after I wash my hands. So.
Yeah, we'll put it. Yeah, because I just broke that one.
Appreciate you.
But yeah, I think people think love is control. People think love is coddling a person. But really, like, loving a person is really sending them about their way to figure it out.
Loving a person is trying to understand a person. That is the reason my family is so close-knit. No family's perfect. Mm-hmm. But I feel like we're at a space now. It took a very long time to get here, but we're at a space now where we don't immediately lash out. We try to understand why this person is feeling the way they're feeling. And, you know, you want the same in return.
Right.
So.
Right. You want those dynamics to be fair.
Yeah. It's got to be. Love is a two-way street.
So we talked about family love. Mm-hmm. The reason you here. So Devin is probably one of the most interesting people I've ever encountered. And my boy just actually came back from DR. So now let's talk about what that looks like for you and put like romantic love, because you moved to New York, then a few years ago I came and saw you, and you moved to Vegas.
Mm-hmm. So I met someone, and I met him on just a regular vacation trip, and it was It was giving, very what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I thought that was what it was going to be. But I guess in retrospect, what happened in Vegas did stay in Vegas because I ended up moving out there.
Right, for sure.
But, I learned something about that. It was both of our first time being in a monogamous relationship at the age of 30.
Okay, so next question, before that you weren't in monogamous relationships?
Never. I've had many situationships, but I was never in a monogamous. Because
another hot take that we can have a podcast about is when I feel like monogamy is really toxic. Mm-hmm. Super inherently toxic, but whatever.
I think I agree with you now with what I know.
Okay.
But might have been a different situation a couple years ago, but now, yeah. Mm-hmm. So we fell in love, and it was magnetic. Strangers could feel it. They'd walk up to us and be like, "What is this? This is beautiful," But I learned a lot about myself and what I will and will not tolerate from another human being in that relationship. I will say this: I feel like if both of us had practiced being in a relationship before we got together, we would probably still be together.
Right.
But he was honest. We still talk to this day.
Yeah.
And post breakup, he was like, "I'm sorry that I wasn't the man that you needed me to be." And I was like, you know what? I didn't even think about that, but yeah, I maybe wasn't the man that you needed. I didn't know how to be. He didn't know how to be.
Right.
So. But
also that forgiving people in relationships and really understanding that rage that people only had what they had at that time, mm-hmm. and not being upset about it.
Mm-hmm. But we broke up amicably. We both decided that this is not the trajectory, but I learned about sacrifice. People say when you get into a relationship, it's about what you bring to the table, but that may be one layer, but the other layer is about what you sacrifice. And I sacrificed a lot to do this. I left everything I know and just moved across the country for this person that I was in love with. I was flying out there every other month for a year and a half before we made the decision to live together. I sacrificed. He didn't have to change anything about his life. I didn't ask him to. I didn't want him to. I made a decision because I was in love. But after everything I sacrificed, nothing was ever good enough. And that's when I was like, we can't do this.
Okay, so that's called codependency. Mm-hmm. That's unresolved issues. Damn.
On his behalf. Mm-hmm. But you got to do your work. You're an adult now.
Yep.
You got to do your work. Mm-hmm.
So ain't nobody got time for that.
Nope.
And honestly, full transparency, some of the reason why my last relationship failed, I wasn't prepared to carry the relationship like I needed to be stable and the man that she needed. I was doing a lot of tone policing instead of just hearing the rage. Where I feel like I lacked that, and that was because of my insecurities and where I fell short. So having those conversations with yourself and forgiving yourself where you fell short at is huge. So I remember because the interesting thing is every time I have hit a milestone, seems like you're hitting it too at the same time. And it's we have these really conversations like this in private, and have been having them at every stage of our growth.
Yeah.
For a long period of
time. For a long period of time. And we gonna get on the phone and talk. If we don't see each other in person, we gonna get on the phone and talk.
Yeah. And honestly, you and 2 other friends that I have in my life are the only people I will key on the phone with, right?
For hours, time just slips away.
I gotta go. Everybody else, I gotta go. I gotta go.
Yep.
Think that one good. Pack it down real quick. Right, so heavy. That also, I feel like self-love gets in the way of creating.
It does, because I saw a meme recently and it really spoke to me. And she was like, people gotta stop acting like, self-love and learning your worth is this miraculous thing. Because what comes with it is now I gotta cut certain people off. Mm-hmm. I gotta stop doing X, Y, and Z. I gotta make better decisions. There's a lot you have to change once you know your worth. Mm-hmm. And it is a process. So.
Absolutely. Little photos falling apart. Baby photos falling apart. I think I'm gonna name this one Kevin Gates.
Kevin Gates.
Yeah, these shits, I'll be naming shit weird shit.
This one is just so intricate. Like,
they're beautiful. They're really, really beautiful. I'm really, really happy. I went to this place in Repot called Sierra's. And this is really impressed. And I'll drive that far again. But yeah. So I think the last time we saw each other, we were just we talked on the phone when you were in DR and you were saying, because we talked New Year's, you want to talk about the conversation we had New Year's? Around that time, you came up here, you was frustrated.
Let's talk about it.
Go ahead, get into it.
Well, where I was in that space, I don't really even know how to put this because I was kind of at a low place right after I had come back from a great place from being in a dark space. So a year ago around this time, I was depressed. It was dark. I was down in a liter of vodka to myself, no chaser, and texting my friends I don't want to wake up tomorrow.
You didn't text me that.
Because you would have been alarmed and you would have
I would have came up there.
Yeah, you would have.
I would have been on there. I would have came up there. You ain't text me that shit.
Because I knew what you would do if I did. I'm not suicidal. I would never want to harm myself. I just didn't want to deal anymore because my work was taken away from me. The thing that I took a risk on, my purpose, was stripped away from me. My source of income, which is also in line with my purpose, was stripped away from me, and I didn't know how to deal with that. So
what are you doing to cope in a pandemic?
Drinking
vodka, huh?
Right. That was one of those moments where I was like, nah, we gonna love on ourselves. This ain't it. You gotta shift gears. So what are you gonna do about that? I started therapy. I started meditating. And meditation really helps you shift your mindset. It's really your mindset, If you have implanted in your mind abundance, you're going to attract it to you. And I learned that. Yeah. But then it was stripped away from me immediately, and I had to learn how to deal with that. But the most beautiful thing that I learned in that whole process is, people always say, trouble don't last always. Mm-hmm. Good times don't last always either. But you need to be grounded in the good times and the bad. Because life is just an ever-revolving circle of highs and lows. Mm-hmm. You got to be centered through all of it. And that's what I had to learn.
So, you feel like the key to loving yourself is self-reflection in a long time?
It's the only answer. You got to sit with your stuff and then make decisions. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much it.
What's your name in this plant? You stuffing it over.
Oh.
Make sure clear the leaves, clear the dirt and stuff from around the leaves.
We can call her Priscilla.
Priscilla? Okay. All right.
Hey, Priscilla.
Priscilla. Mm-hmm. So that's what her name is, Priscilla. All right. Make sure she all the way in there and tucked in. Okay. None of her roots showing.
Yeah, she gives Priscilla. I like this.
Mm-hmm. All right, though. Priscilla, well, we will be sending you pictures of Priscilla from New York to let you know.
I gotta see my niece.
That's how she doing.
I gotta see my niece.
Yes, yes, child. Let's see your niece. Where the other one that you had?
What?
The Clementine.
Oh, I put it back on the table. I didn't even use all of it because it was. Oh yeah. Let's do that.
But
Flower power.
yeah. So like. The meditation thing, I actually agree with, but I think meditating for me was like really fucking with these plants. Like my mom had a house full of plants, so like this shit, like
I think it can come in many different forms. Meditation is not just sitting there saying "Nam yo ho." Love you, Tina Turner.
Love you, girl.
That documentary, have you seen it?
No, not yet.
Oh, you gotta see it. It was so inspiring and so well done.
Yeah.
But saying that to say, I think meditation is more about what you need in your individuality to hone in on you. Mm-hmm. And this is your meditation. This helps you hone in on you and what you want to change about your life. Areas of improvement,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm so, like, I realized I was like, I wrote a tweet the other day, and not the other day, a few weeks ago, and I was just like, oh my God, I realized that I'm fucking sad because I don't have any plants in my house.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I went and I bought a bunch of them, and then today we repotting them.
And that's what love is. You said, I'm sad because I don't have plants in my house. And rather than sitting in your misery, you made a decision. I'm going to go get some plants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't realize that life is hard, but a lot of the choices you made, you made them.
Yeah.
You made them. So you can make another one.
You can make another one.
You can change your mind.
People don't like to use their brains, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day.
I don't think people are, because, no, I don't want you to say that. Because I don't think you really
I've
realize,
literally had people tell me that out of their mouth. I don't want to think. Can you just tell me what it is? No.
So, like, I think that, oh my God, this little freaking plant. I think that people are so used to surviving, that you don't really like use your brain like in ways that we may necessarily use them as creatives. Like a lot of people are really like on survival go mode at all times, and they don't have the like. Oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm getting frustrated because
they don't have the wherewithal.
The luxury.
It's not
I
a
didn't
luxury,
really
it's a
have.
decision.
But listen, I didn't really have the time to realize I was sad until I had money. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people don't realize they mentally are struggling because they are literally working on their day-to-day just to simply fucking.
So literally everything you just said was my first 3 years in New York City. I didn't have time for anything else because I had to figure out every single day that I woke up how I'm going to survive this day.
Yeah.
And I was in a homeless shelter.
I did not know that.
I never told you that?
No.
When I first got there, I ended up in a homeless shelter. I didn't know anything other than the fact that I'm there for a reason, so I got to get through this.
Yeah.
But like, after all of that, I came to terms with the fact that I can thrive too. I don't just have to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that, Dad. Wow.
It's something I don't really speak about, not because I'm ashamed
y'all
of
said you
it.
want to come back. You wasn't coming back. That was the determination.
So Tracy Thomas, who is one of the most beautiful human beings you'll ever meet in life.
Yeah. I grew up with her.
Yeah.
She was great.
Like we all grew up together.
Yeah, Tracy's
and we
great.
still together. So.
Yeah, Tracy's great.
We ended up in a phone conversation, and somehow, I guess I must have told her where I was staying. She Googled it and found out that it was a homeless shelter, and she immediately called my mom. She did what a friend would do.
Yeah.
She did what a friend would do.
Yeah.
So my mom
told your
called.
mom she
Yeah.
snitched on you?
That's what a friend would do. Like,
Right.
your son is in a homeless shelter. You know?
Yeah.
She didn't know the situation, but my mom called me heartbroken. She's like, Devin, please come home. And I'm like, I can't. Because there's a bigger picture here. I just got to get through this. And I will. I don't know how long it's going to take.
Yeah.
But I got to get through this.
Yeah.
To get to the other side. And I'm on the other side now.
Yeah.
I'm on the other side now.
Right, and that's what, when you came to my house like around that time, and you was just sitting in that chair like, I'm like, oh my God, this is aggravating me, because you're the person that really made me really do what I needed to do. Like, and I got friends that I've told about you, and now they're living and working and moving in their purpose. I've introduced you to people, and I've had private conversations with people that said you and yourself and the drive to just be and do something different than what you have been given has truthfully inspired others to really do that for themselves. And all it is a love so deep for yourself that you're just not willing to fail.
There it is.
Like, it's just a love that is so deeply like rooted in yourself that failure is not an option.
No, because if there's anyone I could depend on, it's me.
Yeah, so setbacks are inevitable. Yeah, setbacks are inevitable, but misery is a choice.
I love that. Setbacks are inevitable, but misery is a choice. And a lot of people like to sit in their misery. I'm a problem solver. I don't like to dwell on a problem. If there's a problem, we're going to find a solution.
Yeah.
You know?
So, like, when you came up here and you like, it's like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, I was asleep too. Truthfully. When you called, I was asleep. And I was like, he's calling me. I'm just going to get up.
I needed my friend.
Yeah. And I'm just like, Devin, I don't understand. Because you're the only person that really is like out here doing this shit. And you just need to recenter, refocus. Like, why would you expect that person to do this or do that? And you're like, you know what? You're absolutely right.
But that's what I'm saying. That was one of the conversations that we've had that I was like, I took so much from that conversation. And this was December.
Yeah.
Here we are. December? Yeah, this was a couple months ago. Here we are in the month of April. I applied what you said to me.
Yeah.
And here I am. So.
Right. Back to what you used to be. Even better.
Back to what I've always been.
Because you definitely just called me like, I'm in DR. And I've been here for a few weeks. And I'm like, oh, when I talked to you in December, okay, you know, like, because that's the Devin I know.
But that's why you were one of the people I wanted to speak to in that moment, because we had the conversation we had.
Like, oh, this is the Devin I know.
Things have shifted for me, but they only shifted because I decided that I'm going to do something to make them shift.
Yeah, because I, like, with all of that, God helps the child that has his own, and you got to move your feet.
You got to put one foot in front of the other.
You sure do.
May I have that maker's please?
Yeah. There you go. And, yeah, we are pretty much done. We done repotted all the plants. So, on Sundays, things like this are very important to me. So, this conversation or this episode of this podcast, I'm also going to ask y'all to make sure that you do something for you once, twice a week, maybe once a month, but something that honors you and the human being that you are.
Yeah.
You got any tidbits for the world?
Be authentic. That's one of the most important things for me. Your authenticity will take you so far. You don't have to listen to what people tell you you should do. You're the only one who knows what's best for your life. You're the only one who owns your life. So be authentic. And when you move in that, the world opens up for you.
Okay. So basically be yourself because it pay better?
Basically, yeah. Yeah.
Shit.
It does pay better.
Well, all our plants are repotted and we ready for spring, right? All right, well, ain't nothing better in the world than self-love.